All right, hello everyone. My name is April Fredrickson and I am here today to show you how to make a healthy, balanced meal for your family in a snap. I know that a lot of us really struggle with getting healthy meals on the table because we're so busy trying to get our kids to and from sports, doing homework, all of those things. My goal is here today is to really show you how to make a very, very simple meal. It's food that you can put together in advance, so you could meal prep on a Sunday, throw it together on a busy Tuesday. So I really just want to show you how easy this is and that healthy food really isn't out of reach for busy families. If you plan ahead and prepare, you too can just do this in a snap and make sure that your family's getting great food. So the first thing I want to do is I want to show you the food that I have here and what we're making today. We are making a honey lime shrimp bowl with black beans and quinoa. And the reason that I have selected this is because really this is a perfect meal. So this has leafy greens. I prefer kale. Kale has a lot of vitamin C, vitamin A, vitamin K, lots of fiber. It's really, really great for your family. So we've got kale for the vegetable and the green side of things. We then have quinoa. Quinoa is technically a seed, but it is considered a whole grain. And I made the quinoa in advance because it does take a little bit of time. So I like to make this a couple days before, a day or so before when I have more time so that it's ready to go when I'm trying to put this all together. And then we have our black beans. And as you can see, I have mixed in some onions and some red peppers. I have already sauteed these up. And so basically what I did was I just took the onions. I took about a half of an onion that was chopped and I sauteed it in a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. Did the same thing with the red peppers. I then combined the beans with the onions and the peppers and some garlic just to give the beans a little bit more flavor. So it's not just boring old black bean, it's black beans and garlic and lots of spices, and it's just really, really delicious. So the next thing that I am ready to do is to saute the kale. So you can really decide how much you want to saute the kale. Some people really like for this dish to be more like a salad, and so they don't really saute the kale too much because they like the texture. I saute my kale just a little bit because I like it to soften up a little bit. And so first thing I'm going to do is take some olive oil, and I just kind of eyeball this, but if you want to measure it out, it's about a tablespoon of olive oil. And then I'm just going to go ahead and put it here into the pan. So just about that much. I'm gonna then go ahead and just grab my kale. And obviously your hands need to be clean for this. Just kind of put the kale right here. And I'm gonna also put a little bit of garlic in here. And again, because I'm trying to just do this kind of on the fly when I need something quick for kids, I just pull this out of my fridge. A lot of people, if you have the time, go ahead and chop the fresh garlic. But for me, because I'm trying to get this on the table quick, I just have that ready to go, and that just makes things that much quicker. So now I am just going to saute the kale, and it might take the oven, or it might take this pan just a little bit to heat up, but we'll just kind of let that happen. And we'll just let this saute in olive oil. And then when this is done, we'll just remove it from the heat, and then it's ready to go. It's really easy. Again, this is the nice thing about kale, soaking up the olive oil. Olive oil is a healthy fat, so it is good for your heart. And we're just gonna kind of let that get a little bit softer. And I am going to add just a little bit of salt and pepper to the kale. So I just kind of just this little bit of salt and pepper as well. That. There we go. All right, so it looks like this is about how I like it. Do just a little bit more, let it get a little bit softer. And while that is cooking, I'm going to get started over here. The next thing we're going to do is the shrimp. And the shrimp is pretty easy. Okay. So I'm just going to let this pan kind of heat up while the kale is almost done. All right, so I think this is about done. I'm gonna turn that off. I'm gonna come over here and I am going to actually, no, I think I'm gonna hold off on the shrimp and I'm gonna move to the sauce because the shrimp should be one of the last things that you do so that it's warm and it's fresh. Okay, so I'm gonna move to the sauce, and what we have for the sauce is the base on the sauce is olive oil, and so I use a really tiny Cuisinart because it's very easy. And so I'm gonna do that here. I just kind of keep it right here. And first thing we have is a 1/4 cup of olive oil. So you just take your olive oil, throw it in there. And then we've got 3 tablespoons of lime juice. And again, depending on how much time you have, you can use fresh lime juice. Again, because I'm just trying to really make a really fast meal that I can get on the table quickly. Again, I always have this in my refrigerator. So about 3 tablespoons of lime juice. And then 1 tablespoon of honey. Just realized I haven't opened my honey yet. All right, so 1 tablespoon of honey. This is 1 1/2, so I'll have to kind of modify it, but okay, so this is gonna be a little sticky, but there we go. Oops. All right, and then a little bit of garlic. And this calls for 1 clove garlic, which is just about a teaspoon of this. So we're just gonna do that. And then 1/4 teaspoon of salt, which I can eyeball here. Probably about that much. All right, so I'm just gonna make sure this is right. There we go. Okay, so I have my little Cuisinart over here. So I am just going to try and get this locked. There we go. All right, everything's in place, and I just do this, and it just mixes it right up. Oh, it smells good. All right, so that is the dressing, and I'm just gonna leave that over here until we're ready. Although I am gonna take the blade out and throw that in the sink and wash my hands while I'm over here. Okay, kale's done. Now we are on the shrimp. And again, a little bit of olive oil here. And because these are already cooked, we're not going to do a ton to them. We are going to salt and pepper them. I'm just going to stick them here. Pepper. All right, so just gonna let these sit maybe for about a minute on each side. And after that, I am going to flip them over. That's probably good. Flip them all over. All right, just let those sit. To turn off the heat there, and these are about done. Now you can take these out of the pan if you want. Everything is pretty much done, so what I usually do from here is I just start dishing up the bowls, and that is very easy. So I usually take just a big bowl here and I dish up about, just depends on how much kind of quinoa you want, about a cup of quinoa, and then half of the beans and the onions here, just about maybe half of a cup of beans, a cup of beans, whatever you prefer. And then I just come over to the kale. So good. And this kale is a little bit crunchy, which is how I like mine. Kale, and then I just grab a few shrimp, depending on how many shrimp you want, how hungry you are. The shrimp in. All right, and then the only thing that's left is the dressing and the avocado. So I'm gonna kind of set this aside right now just to do the avocado so that I don't have to, so it doesn't get soggy from the dressing. So this is my favorite avocado tool. You don't need to use something like this, but it just makes it really easy. You can just kind of cut the avocado down the center, slice it like this, and just do that. And I don't really bother to I just essentially remove the flesh from the avocado and just put it in a bowl. I don't necessarily cut it into nice little chunks. But I like about a half of an avocado in mine. So I just do this and just stick it in there. There we go. And then now it's ready for the dressing. So, all right, so then you just grab this and do about half the dressing per bowl. And voila, dinner is served. And this is what it looks like when you're done. And my kids love it. I am sure that yours will too. So I think that so I think that's it for today. So thank you so much for joining me for this meal. If you like these kind of really simple, wholesome, balanced recipes that are easy to throw together, go ahead and go over to my Instagram account and you will see all of my videos there. And it is April Upchurch Fredrickson. So thanks again, and I hope you have a wonderful dinner. All right.